People have asked me, is it true that confidence and self-esteem is already seen inbuilt in someone's parts? Is it destined that someone is born confident? Now, it may come as a surprise to many people who study astrology that self-confidence, self-esteem is not something that is inborn in someone. You have to build the self-esteem and build the confidence. And BaZi is a good way to help someone become aware of what they need to change and improve so that they can have better self-esteem, they can have better confidence. It's not something that you see in a chart that from the start as a 1-month-old infant, that person already have superior powers of self-esteem and confidence and therefore they succeed in life. It's not like that. They have to actually build it like everybody else, they built it. Well, some people might find it easier. Well, some people might find it a little bit difficult. Depends on whether they're doing it correctly and or whether or not they come to awareness that they need to build the self-confidence and self-esteem. So the way to look at this, today I'm going to share 10 ways of how you could use BaZi to help build self-confidence and self-esteem. And we're going to go through some names of stars. And if you don't know the names of these stars, it's fine. You can read my book on the BaZi Destiny Code. You'll come to realize what these stars are, these elements are. And even if you don't know the elements, it's fine. These are areas that you can actually work on yourself to actually build better self-esteem and confidence. Okay, so you can try that out. Number one, in BaZi, we talk about the two types of output element. And if you are familiar with the BaZi astrology, they're called eating god and hurting officer. Generally, they are the elements that is created by the self. Now, let's say you don't know metaphysics, it's still fine. In order to build confidence, all we really need to do is, number one, be prepared. I think it's counterintuitive. Sometimes people think, you mean just be prepared? Yeah, in a way, be prepared. If you want to give a talk, you prepare for the talk. You want to teach a class, you prepare for the class. You want to do anything, be prepared. That's the output element at use. Many people don't get really prepared. The more you put into the preparation, the better your confidence will be in making that presentation or doing that sale or doing that talk. All right, that's number one. Number two, still part of the output element, it's called practice. You want to play the violin, you have to practice. You want to play the piano in front of a few people, you have to practice. Even if you give a speech, you have to practice. When we do events, back in the day when we actually do a lot of live events and when we speak to thousands of people, literally, my biggest event is 12,000 live audience. So how do we actually prepare for something like that? Well, we go and practice. So the night before, I will get on stage and I will actually go through some of the content, some of the slides and go through the important key points. Well, I don't give the entire full speech, but nevertheless, I'll practice standing on stage. How does it feel like imagine speaking to people on stage? That's why when the day comes for the event, I don't actually feel butterflies in my stomach right before getting on stage. I still feel excited, but not scared. That's the difference. So that's the first two things that you could do. The third thing comes down to the friend element. Okay, now a friend element or a what we call a companion element is this. Basically, what it tells us is this: sometimes our self-esteem and confidence is greatly affected by the people we spend a lot of time with. They could mean well, it could be our family members, it could be your good friends, your BFFs, but sometimes there's negativity, okay? Your inner circle of friends that has negativity on why you can't do something, their logical deduction why you can't do this and you're not qualified for that. These are the people you need to stay away from, okay? And you need to stay away from mentally, not just physically exactly, but at least mentally, so that you don't get your self-esteem don't get affected, okay? And many times people don't see this part and therefore they are surrounded by people who tell them they can't do this, they're not qualified for something, they can't give the presentation, you don't have the credibility, you're too young, you're too old and so forth. That's why they get affected. So just stay away from them. And the fourth thing I will look at is my internal mental talk. This is important. It's also part of the self element. A self element is called the internal voice. So this internal voice is important that our conversations with ourselves have to be positive. Now we can go away from external negative voices, but how do you go away from the internal negative voice? If internally you tell yourself you cannot do it, so that internal voice you have to observe. And speaking of observation, the self element in BaZi also represents curiosity. You gotta have a curious mind, because when you're curious, you are observant of the world. You're observant of things around you. You have a willingness to learn, and you're open to new experiences. So the self element represents that. So when we look at a BaZi chart, we look for that. If you have that element, if you don't know BaZi, is also fine. This could be one of the things you need to do to build self-confidence and build self-esteem. Okay, so the fifth thing we can talk about is what we call the wealth element, direct wealth element. It's generally this, okay? Your current up-to-date achievement list. I call this the greatest hits. You can open an Evernote account or just have a notepad, where you list down all your past achievements. This is important, and this is not for you to go and brag to somebody, but it's for you to keep looking at, hey, you've done this before, you got this, you have achievements. It's your own greatest hits list. It reminds you that you can still do this, okay? These are small challenges or small reminders that you have done this in the past and can repeat the success again. That will give a lot of self-confidence to yourself. That will build up your self-esteem as well. So have your greatest hits list. Okay, so the next 2 points number 6 and 7, it's regarding the direct and indirect resource. It's about this. It's about, number 1, increasing your capabilities, and number 2, maximizing the capabilities. Now, I probably will film another video about capabilities here, but the first thing is, the more capable you are, the more confident you will be. The thing is, many people don't spend a lot of time increasing their capabilities. So they're incapable of doing a lot of things. For example, let's say you want to do a talk, right? You want to present in front of an audience, but you're not capable of doing public speaking. Increase that capability. If you increase that, you'll be confident you can do it, right? But if you didn't do any training on it, you didn't want to learn it, then of course you'll be scared, right? And once you know how to do it, the next part is to maximize your ability to do it even better. So maximizing the capacity would be the next point, right? So this is one of the things that I feel is extremely important for people. It's simply if a person is not confident, is only because they are not confident of their capability to do something. So why not learn it? Right? And the 8th thing, this is about naysayers. And there will always be naysayers. There will be probably naysayers, or worse than that, haters and critics. Tell yourself this: if you don't show courage and do what you said you would do, tell yourself that then unfortunately the naysayers are right about you. Turn that negative criticism, that naysayers energy, into something positive for yourself. So you want to tell yourself, if you don't do it, they will be right. And you don't want your naysayers to be right, therefore you do it. Use it as power for yourself. And number 9, this is about the direct officers. Taking small, structured steps. And the journey of 1,000 miles begin with the first step. So small steps. You don't have to prepare to be perfect and take 100 steps ahead. Just take one small step. I always remember someone told me this before, right? When in doubt, take the next right step. That's it. Just take the next right step. Don't think 10 steps ahead. Some people need to think 10 steps ahead. What's going to do? The strategy and all that. A lot of people don't have time to think about all these big strategies. Just take the next right step and you'll be all right. And finally, okay, this is about indirect wealth. Is to celebrate, reward yourself. Every time you achieve a small milestone, even if it's small, celebrate, right? You got to reward yourself a little bit. Give yourself a pat in the back, right? Tell yourself you did a good job. And by doing so, you will build self-esteem. You will increase your confidence. I hope you find this video valuable. Please share this video with all your friends and don't forget to hit the like button. And if you've not already done so, please subscribe to my channel and hit on the bell icon for notifications every time we release a video right here. Thank you for watching.